All right, guys, welcome to the Credit Game. My name is Mike. You know I come to you every single day, even Saturdays now, to make sure that you know credit like it's your child's name. I want to make sure you don't miss anything. We've got a couple things that are coming up like FICO 10, and I keep you abreast of everything that's happening so that way you literally have the content in front of you, go back through all my videos, and I make videos based on what you guys want and what you're asking for, not just made up videos. I ask for comments back to ask what would be most relevant to your life, and then I create the video. So if it's your first time on the channel, I appreciate watching. I would ask that you would please find it in your heart to subscribe to the channel because we do bring it every single day to you. Number two, I would ask you to please smash on that like button. It helps the algorithm for YouTube, as well as the most important thing is turn on the bell notification, because as that video comes in every day, I want to make sure you get notified so that way you can keep yourself accountable. The more you do something, the more you learn, the more videos I do, the better you're going to get. So, and they're real videos. You know, Mike, I don't bullet. I'm not putting any of this BS out there, right? So I'm trying to tell you guys that if you follow me, you're going to find out why this video is worth over $100,000. So, how do we get to the perfect credit score for free? That's what people ask. How do we get to a perfect credit score for free? Well, first you have to understand what a perfect credit score is, right? Most people think that a perfect credit score is 850. A perfect credit score is actually 781. Anything in between 781 and 850 is considered perfect. There's no difference other than you can brag and say, like me, I got an 827, but it makes no difference to someone who has a 781. You're gonna get the same results that I get. Low interest rate, I can refinance all my home and my car, I could get high limit credit cards, get points, rewards cards, travel cards. I can pretty much do what I want with my credit, right? So if you look at credit, look at it like, for an adult, it's a credit score. For a child, you're looking at what they get graded as A, B, C, D, or F. It's the same thing for adults, except we don't go to school anymore. So instead of us getting grades like A, B, C, D, F, we get 500, 600, 700, 800, okay? That's how you want to look at life as an adult. If you want to go backwards and play in a sandbox, then we'll go ahead and give you an A or B. But as an adult, live life like, how do I raise my credit score the fastest? And the reason I'm telling you that a perfect credit score is because analyses are saying that if you have a 780 to an 800 credit score, that is valued at over $100,000 in cash. So you guys want to know how to do it for free? Here's what I'm gonna tell you. The first thing is understanding how credit works, okay? Which is why I created the credit game. I created the credit game for myself. I'm talking to myself right now, and I'm just happy to share it with the world. I built this for me. Having a perfect credit score starts by understanding that 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history. So it makes sense that if you have on-time payments and you miss a payment, you are screwed. It's 35% of your score. 35%, it's the biggest thing. So what do I tell you guys? Recommend this. Put your credit cards on auto payment. Put your car on auto payment. Put your home mortgage on auto payment, because if you miss a payment, it's going to stay there for 7 years and it is going to ruin your credit. They are very difficult to remove late payments, especially if it's like a brand new account, because like, think about it. Like you have a brand new account, you get a late payment, you're going to try to remove that late payment. Yeah, you could, and there are ways, and I've got videos for that. But is it more difficult than a collection from 6 years ago? Absolutely, right? So the first thing we want to look at is our payment history. The more credit cards you have, the better. Let me explain why. Let's say you have 3 credit cards, okay? And you've been making payments on all of those for, say, 3 years, right? So 36 months, 36 months, and 36 months. Now you've got nearly 100 on-time payments. If you miss a payment, then you're basically 99 out of 100. Which, based on the calculation there, you would be at about 99% or so on-time payment, which would not hurt you that bad. But let's say that you're brand new to credit and you get, let's say you have a year on a credit card and you miss a payment. Well, now you're 12 payments and you've missed one. So now you're 11 out of 12, right? And that's going to put you in a category of extremely bad and will affect your credit score tremendously. So the more cards you have, and the more, it's an average. So the more cards you have, like I have 36 cards. If I ever missed a payment, I would be at 99.9% payment history because I've got like 700 or 800 on-time payments, right, with my credit cards because of how many I have. The more credit cards you have, if you do miss a payment, God forbid, and I'm saying don't do that, then obviously what's going to happen is it's going to be less impact than more impact, okay? Let's talk about what the next biggest thing is. And the reason why I'm focusing on the top two the most is because 35% is your payment history. This is going to make the most impact to your credit score. So the more credit cards you have, the better. The second is utilization. And you have to understand how utilization works, okay? A lot of people have no idea. You go out and you get a $500 Capital One Platinum card, okay? And you end up spending $350 because you decided you wanted to buy the kids Christmas gifts and you wanted to put on that $500 card. Well, what happens is now, out of that $500 credit card, you just put almost $400 on it. You're about a 75 somewhere percent utilization. It takes the average. So if you're ever going to spend money on something, I would spend money on the highest credit limit card versus the lowest credit limit card, because if you spent $350 out of a $25,000 credit card, the utilization would be extremely low and would make very little impact. Now, what do I always tell you guys to keep your utilization at? 2%. There are so many critics out there that will tell you pay it off incomplete, and there's a lot of people that say keep it around 20%. Okay? According to Credit Karma, they say anything under 10% is great. I'm telling you, 2%, I've been doing this a very long time, is the absolute best utilization to keep your cards at. Okay? This makes up 30% of your score. So now your payment history, because you've set up your payments on auto, okay, so you don't miss a payment, just call up the card and say, hey, I want to make the payment automatically through my checking account so I don't miss any payments. They will set it up for you. Bing, bang, boom, and you guys are making your payments on time every single month. Okay, utilization, 30%. Now we're at 65% of our total credit score just on two things. But you want to understand utilization. You can spend, here's the cool thing, right? This is why I'm bringing you guys some gold nuggets today. You can spend the $350, $400 on that $500 card. What a lot of people don't know is their closing statement date. So let's say you called up Capital One, you said, what is my closing statement date? Each card, by the way, has a different statement date. They tell you that your closing statement date is the 15th of the month. You can spend $500 all the way up to the 14th of the month as long as you pay it off before the 15th. So it's not how much you use, it's how much you use before the statement date to making sure that you get it paid down to that 2% or even whatever, maybe if you get it down to 10%, okay? But you don't want to go into the next month, because once you pay it on the 17th of the month, let's say, for example, that card. And again, every credit card has a different statement date, so you just got to call the bank and ask for yours. If you plan on using a credit card, call the bank, say, hey, what's my closing statement date? They will tell you. If you plan on using that credit card, you have to think about, if I use this credit card, what date would I have to pay it off before it reports? The closing statement date is the last day it will report the data. So if you use $400 on it, it's okay. Just pay it off before the closing statement date of that card, and it will report as whatever you made the payment on to the following month. Don't pay it on the due date. If you pay it on the due date, a lot of times the due date is after the statement date, and what's going to happen is that $350, $400 you put on the card is going to move over to the next month, and you're going to have a 70% utilization. Okay? And what's going to happen is you're going to be trashed. Your score is going to be trashed because that's 30% of your score. Okay? Now, what I want to talk about now is your age. Okay? So a lot of people don't really know what age is, and this is 15% of your credit score. Age is that showing that you can make payments on time for a long period of time. So think about age like this, because a lot of people, let's say the minute you feel, like let's say you got a five-year credit card, okay? And you just went out and you opened up a brand new credit card tomorrow. Okay, you got a 5-year history on your Citibank, and then you just went and opened up a Barclays tomorrow. What's gonna happen is you're going to then take that brand new account and it's got to divide it into the 5-year average that you had. And now you have a 2.5-year average. So the more credit cards you get in a short period of time is going to lower your age overall because it takes the overall. Okay, now that's why this is not an overnight process, guys, right? You can't start getting 5-year accounts, 5-year accounts, 5-year accounts, 5-year accounts. That's why it takes a long time because the more credit cards you get, it starts to lower your age. Now, thankfully, this is only 15% of your credit score. It's not like 35, like your payment history. So it is important, but if you end up getting 2 credit cards, okay, just make sure that those payments that you're making are on time and never miss a payment because that will trash your score again. Age is extremely important to make sure because lenders want to give you credit cards, homes, refinance, and if they see that you have brand new credit, they're going to go, how trustworthy is this person to get this mortgage? How trustworthy is this person to get a car? Because at the end of the day, they just had a card for the last 6 months, 12 months, and they haven't missed a payment yet, but we don't have enough history. And then they'll decline you for these things because they're going to say you don't have enough history. Okay, that's 15% of your score. The next thing that we're going to look at is your mix. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tell you is this: go through your credit report and find out what this is 10% of your score. Okay, find out if you have any revolving. Mostly revolving would be a line of credit or credit cards. These are revolving accounts, which means that the payment can move, revolves each month. It's not the same payment every month, depends on how much you use. So if you have only installments, meaning like a car payment, a loan, or a home, okay, those are installments, fixed payments, meaning that the payment every single month is the same. Those are installments. But let's say you have a loan and you have a car, but you don't have any revolving accounts, credit cards or a line of credit, then you want to open up another account because that mixture is what they're looking for. Contrary to that, if you have a bunch of credit cards, but you don't have a loan, a car, or a home, you want to get the installment side so that way you have installment and revolving, okay? And lastly, I'm going to talk about is your inquiries, which is counterproductive because here's what they think. The banks think that if you go out too fast and start getting a bunch of inquiries, why does this person want 3 or 4 credit cards and why did they open up a loan and get a car all in the same week? What they think is that you are cash strapped, right? And for lenders, when they see that you've got 3 credit cards and you went out and got back-to-back credit cards and then you get out a car and then you're getting a loan all very short period of time, that you're going to go and just max that crap out and they have the risk of you not paying it back. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing you have to do is make sure you separate each credit card by at least 6 months. Nothing less than 6 months. Don't go get 3 credit cards in the first week. 6 months, I like to say, is probably a fair assessment. Anything a little bit longer is going to be better, but don't go less than 6 months in getting an account. Okay, now, here's how inquiries affect you. Inquiries affect you in 2 different ways. Number one, you have to understand that they stay on your credit for 24 months. Automatically, they come off. So if you apply today, on the 25th month, it will automatically come off your credit report without you doing anything. All right? However, it does not affect your credit for 24 months. It only affects your credit for 12 months. So if you can really space out your credit cards to a year, the effect, even though the inquiry is still there, it makes no impact to your credit score. After 12 months, then technically every single year you can get a credit card and you'd be absolutely fine. Some people need credit a little bit earlier than that 1 year, so I say 6 months, you'd be okay. Because by the time you get a couple credit cards, then obviously that year comes up pretty quick and then you can get more. All right, so that's how they impact you. Now, if you get denied for a credit card, loan, car, whatever the case is, what's going to happen to your credit is anywhere between 3 and 5 points will be reduced from your credit score. So if you have an 800 credit score, for example, and you were to get denied, which would be very unlikely, but let's just say you did. Let's use more realistic. Let's say you're at a 580 and you get denied for a credit card, okay? You're going to lose about 3 to 5 points for every inquiry that you do. Okay? I see people all the time that call me like, Mike, I got 24 inquiries. I'm like, 24 inquiries? God, how do you have 24? I've seen people with 24, 30 inquiries. I'm like, man, I know that you grew up, with your parents telling you don't be a quitter, but I mean, that's just overboard. You got 30 inquiries, man. You just ain't giving up, are you? 30 inquiries. What is that costing you, though? That's 100 and some points. So you literally just took 100 points off your credit because that's 3 points on 30 inquiries. That's 90 points, right? So 3 to 5 points for every decline, and every time that you get approved for a credit card, it still dings you, but you're looking at probably about a point, maybe 2. Points usually where I'm at. So when I apply for a credit card, I'm at 827 credit score. I'll see the inquiry, my go to 826, okay? Not a big deal. The key is to have more credit card payments. This goes back to the number one thing I was telling you in the beginning about your payment history, and that's 35%. Because the more credit cards you have that you're making payments on, okay, they take that combined total. Remember I told you that, right? So think about that you, for example, let's use me, I've got 30 some credit cards. I've got 700 on-time payments. So that means they take the total amount of payments, and then if you miss one, it's divided into the total amount of payments. Versus if you had one credit card for 3 years, now you got 36 months of history of making payments, but then you miss a payment, now you're going to be in that 97%, 98%, which would be considered, and you're going to drop probably about 30 to 40 points. Whereas if I missed a payment tomorrow for whatever reason, I've got 700 on-time payments. Now I've got 699 out of 700. I'm at a 99.9% as far as the payment history versus the total amount of payments. I may lose a point, 2 points, maybe, right? So you see the difference. Make sure that you get more credit lines opened so that way, if in fact you do miss a payment, I'm dropping bombs for you guys, boy. If you miss a payment, it's not the end of the world. Okay? And then make sure you set up your cards on auto deduct. I'm telling you, I did a survey with probably over 50 people with an 800 credit score. And I said, what is the number one thing that you've been able to maintain an 800 credit score? They say we don't go out crazy and get a bunch of credit cards, and we make sure we set up all of our payments, credit cards, car, loan, house, everything gets set up on auto. I'm telling you, this is the secret sauce, the holy grail of an 800 credit score. Making sure you don't miss a payment, because if you miss a payment or two, your score will go from 800 down to the 600s, one missed payment. That's how bad it could be if you don't have 30 accounts like me, okay? So, lastly, there is a way of supercharging this. This process could take anywhere between, 3 to 5 years from where you're at. That's why I said you could do it for free. There's a way of doing this for free if you just follow the steps I just told you. You could supercharge this. I would recommend, if you want to ask yourself this question, what is more important, time or money? Put in the comments, what's more important to you, time or money? Because what you could do is actually think about this for a minute. What if you could piggyback, also known AKA authorized user or AU, and put 5-year history on your credit report as a revolving account and literally surpass that 5 years. So now, when you apply for a credit card, if you have a Tradeline, an authorized user, on your credit report, 1 or 2 or 3 of these, now you surpass having to wait 3 to 5 years making your payments on time, because as an authorized user, boom, perfect payment history, last 5 years, gets reported onto your credit, bing, bang, boom. Now you have the perfect payment history. You can pick the credit limit you want. And when you apply for credit cards, they see the history and they see the credit limit. Just like I showed you guys the other day. If it was me, I'd have 2 or 3 credit cards and I would do what they call progression file. Highest credit limit would be the newest card. If I'm buying 3 Tradelines, okay, here's how I would do it exactly for me. This is how I help you guys. 3 Tradelines. I would buy something that would be somewhere in that $3,000 to $4,000 credit limit, and I'd have about 10, 15 years on it, probably 15 years. Then I would step it up and I would go to about a 10K with about 7 or 8 years. And then I would go to about a 25K with 2 years. And the reason I say 2 is because FICO's coming out, and anything less than 2 years, when they do a look back on a FICO 10 trending, is going to be useless. Okay, 3 to 4K, 15 years, 7 to 8K, 7 to 8 years, 25K, 2 years. That's called a progression file. What that shows to lenders is that over the time, since back then, 10, 15 years ago, you got 3,000 to 4,000 credit limit. Then you applied for a credit card and you were able to get, a $10,000 limit 7 or 8 years ago. And then you applied again and you got 25,000 2 years ago. Now, when you apply for a credit card after you get these AUs put on, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get a higher credit limit because now your high credit is 25K, not 0, or not a starter card, or not the first card you're getting that you're trying to build credit. This is the fastest way to raise your credit score using authorized user, and it also gives you that instant like boost to start applying for your own credit cards. So if you guys need help with that, guys, we have the best VIP vendor in the nation. And with all my programs, you get up to 75% off of Tradelines from a preferred vendor that I've been working with for the last 7 years, #1 in the nation, to help you guys with quick starting this process. Again, you can do this completely free. It's just going to be the matter of what's more important to you, time or money. If you're willing to wait the 3 to 5 years to do it, like I did it because I didn't know about I didn't know about this, right? So why do I bring it to you today? So you can learn the secrets and the tips and the trick from me and learn from my mistakes, how I went from 515 to 827. Had I known about authorized users, I'd put a 3-pack on there, smack it with a 3-pack with cheese, and then boom, I'm out applying for credit cards, right? So that being said, if you need help, my team's out there waiting for you. Call me up, say, hey, I want to find out about your program. I know you guys got an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD. That's the credit game, right? I built it up like a school because it was never taught in school. Why Uncle Mike comes to you is because he wants to teach you what mommy and daddy never taught you, what schools never taught you. That's why it's in a school platform. Associates, bachelor's, master's, PhD, doctorate. And all of it from associates all the way to doctor is advanced level, from beginner, intermediate, all the way to being a master at credit. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want a car? How bad do you want an apartment? How bad do you want your first house? How bad do you want a loan? How bad do you want a brand new vehicle? How bad do you want lowest interest rates? How bad do you want to refinance your home or your car and stop paying $600 versus $300? That's the question you ask yourself. What's more important, time or money? That's the way to get to a perfect credit score. Give me a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everything. That's why I come to you every day to give you the latest and greatest. Go back to this video 100 times so that way you can literally watch it, stop it, pause it, take notes, do what you got to do. If you want the help and you want the fast track, you call me. I will take care of you. That's what I've been doing for my clients for the last 7 years, making sure they're taken care of. That starts with a phone call, 904-420-7772. I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. It's Mike from The Credit Game.